NRG Stadium has played host to some of the biggest events in sports. Super Bowl 38, WrestleMania 25, and tonight the biggest names in Monster Jam come to town as Stadium Championship Series 2 invades the Rodeo City, all in pursuit of the overall event championship. Welcome to another exciting episode of Monster Jam on NBC Sports. I'm your host, Scott Jordan, alongside Gravediggers Morgan Kane, and later on tonight we'll be joined by Leslie Mears in the pits. It's Stadium Championship Series 2 here in Houston, and right now it's shaping up to be a two-team race. Max D's Neil Elliott with a 5-point lead over Adam Anderson in Gravedigger. Morgan, how do you see tonight's event shaping out?
I really think, Scott, that these competitors on this tour, they're going to have to catch Adam and Neil because they're going to run away with this thing if they don't. But Houston's where it's at. The fans know what Monster Jam's all about, and they're ready to have a great show. Adam
Anderson's been to the top of the mountain. He's the reigning World Finals racing champion and Gravedigger. Neil Elliott's won just about everything in Monster Jam except the World Finals championship. Right now, let's meet the stars of Stadium Championship Series 2.
Bryce Kenny, Kernersville, North Carolina, Great Clips, Mohawk Warrior.
Adam Anderson, Gravedigger, Kildover Hills, North Carolina.
Heavy D, Salt Lake City, Utah, Brodozer.
Kelvin Raymer, Watsonville, California, Time Flies.
Rosalie Raymer, Watsonville, California, Wildflower.
J.R. McNeil, Paisley, Florida, Amarillo Exterminator.
Scott Buto, Lincoln Hills, Illinois, El Toro Loco.
Neil Elliott, Naples, Florida, Max D.
Candace Jolly, Naples, Florida, Monster Mutt Dalmatian.
Aaron Basil, Grand Island, Nebraska, Wolf's Head Motor Oil.
Eric Swanson, Menifee, California, Obsessed.
Paul Strong, Malacca, Minnesota, Zombie Fire.
Brian Disharoon, Delmar, Maryland, Rod Bryan Show.
Steve Thompson, Hagerstown, Maryland, Earthshaker.
And Morgan, I feel like we say this week after week, but in Monster Jam, it's always a stacked lineup. Anybody can win on any given night.
With our season point standings from 5th place all the way to 1st, it's anybody's game. You lose first round, you lose all those big-time points, and it will shift the bracket all around.
11 points separate 1, 2, and 3. It is Max D, Gravedigger, and Brodozer, Great Clips, Mohawk Warrior right there in 4th. Neil Elliott and Adam Anderson have been up and down the road together. They seem like they're always 1 and 2, always flip-flopping. We'll see what happens after tonight's event. We're going to get started with America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses Racing, the Great Clips Two-Wheel Skills Challenge, and then Freestyle. We are now into America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses Racing Semifinals. 4 will enter, 1 will win.
Last weekend in Orlando, Candace Jolly beat former drag racer Bryce Kenny off the line in racing, and she's been nagging him about it all week, reminding him that he should be quicker off the line than she is. She's hoping that these mind games will help her out in this round.
I talked to Bryce. He took that personally. He said Candace has been all over him about getting off the line slower. It looks like he did get off the line a little bit faster than the Monster Mutt Dalmatian.
This is an amazing lineup. Right now, going racing, these are 2 racers at heart, and I know they're trying to do everything they can to put the fastest pass down of the night.
And they're pretty even coming into that last turn. You got to hit that throttle, and it is Bryce Kenny, Great Clips Mohawk Warrior, who kind of gives Candace a little taste of her own medicine, backs up his words against hers, and it's the Mohawk Warrior moving on.
It is a little bit added pressure having Adam nipping at my heels again, but I'm really just going to try and not worry about it and go do my thing. Adam's an awesome driver in that Gravedigger truck, and we've seen in the past Adam and I back and forth in the points lead, and I've come out on top, and there's years he's come out on top. So we're just going to go do our thing. We do have the at-home trophy war, which is going to be really tough to win this year because we're both at the same Monster Jam show, obviously. So there's only one trophy going home, and it can't go to both of us. But I think having her here is actually going to help me this year because I don't know, she just drives me to drive better, I guess. So I think it's a plus having her on the tour. There could be. I don't think there's a target on anybody's back in particular. My target is on Adam's back. So I think everybody's out there just playing their own game and going out there and running as hard as they can run with any luck. Like I say, I'd rather be lucky than good any day. So.
Well, Neil Elliott is lucky, and he's also good, so he has two great things going for him, but he's got to look over next to him in the other lane, and it's Adam Anderson in Gravedigger.
I love this matchup. I love Neil's mentality going into the race. But honestly, man, he's got one of the toughest competitors in the sport in the other lane, and he's trying to do everything he can to do his thing and get to that winner's circle.
It looked like he came to a bit of a stop on that turn. Adam Anderson right there. He hits the ramp a little bit with that right tire and then up over the turn car, and Adam Anderson and Gravedigger are going to take the opportunity and advantage of the rare mistake from Neil Elliott and Max D.
It might not be the fastest time, but Adam's consistent. You know, Neil's little mistake cost him the race, but now you've got Adam and you've got Bryce in the finals. This is going to be a good matchup, Scott.
Yeah, Adam Anderson, Gravedigger, Bryce Kenny, the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior. They met 11 times last year, Morgan. Great Clips 3-8 against Adam Anderson and Gravedigger, so a tough matchup for Bryce Kenny.
And I don't know if this is a strategy or not, but look at Bryce's truck. It's leaning a little bit to one side, leaning more towards the inside of the turn. So maybe he can go into the corner a little bit faster and have that edge versus Adam.
And they're off that start straight, very even. Bryce Kenny very smooth on the turn, up a little sideways on the ramp, came down on 2 wheels instead of 4. That could hurt him.
Adam checked out, man. He nailed that corner in the first turn, and he's gone. Your racing champion, Adam Anderson and Gravedigger.
Nobody was better last year in the America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses Racing Final than Adam Anderson. He went undefeated and still with that record. There you saw the start so close. Bryce Kenny nice and smooth off the turn, but Adam Anderson took advantage of the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior landing on 2 wheels. Your America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses Racing winner, Adam Anderson.
Well, Adam, it seemed like you were really tight on those corners, trying to keep from washing out like everyone else, and it gives you your 2nd racing championship of the season so far.
You know, it's great to be able to come out here and compete against all these competitors and take it home, but at the same time, man, I didn't come here to win just this. It's not what it's about. We honestly struggled with steering issues in racing. It was low and fluid. The crew that came out and topped it off right after I ran Neil Elliott was able to take that and then continue on to take the overall win.
Last year, Adam Anderson got a brand new Gravedigger truck, struggled with steering issues all year. That took him to the Monster Jam World Finals Racing Championship. How do you struggle and still manage to be so good in an event?
Well, as a driver, you want to make sure that the team chemistry with your mechanics is there, you know, and the chemistry that Bobby and Adam have is great, next to none, gets him the win.
And now it's time for the Science of Monster Jam, fueled by Monster Energy.
What's going on, guys? I'm Cody Saucier. This is the Science of Monster Jam, fueled by Monster Energy.
In order to utilize alternative fuels, Monster Jam partnered with Wagler Competition Products and the Diesel Brothers to bring the iconic look of Brodozer to the Monster Jam track. It all started with a standard 6.6-liter Duramax block. From there, they added 200% over-injectors to ensure adequate fuel delivery. Now, in order to burn all that fuel, you've got to have a lot of good cold air. And then they added the dual-stage turbo system. The top turbocharger is 3 by 3.4 inches and forces air into the bottom charger that is slightly larger than stock. All that air then runs through a cooling device to cool it down by 60 degrees before it goes into the engine to create 1,200 horsepower. So how does the Brodozer compare to your stock truck? Well, as far as quickness goes, a stock truck goes from 0 to 60 in 6.2 seconds. The Brodozer, 0 to 50 in 2.45. As far as torque is concerned, factory settings 900 foot-pounds of torque at 1,600 RPMs, and the Brodozer blows that out of the water at 1,400 foot-pounds of torque at 4,500 RPMs. They also utilize 80% less fuel than methanol, and the best part is if you want to fill it up, just take it to any diesel pump across the country.
Thank you, Leslie. That Brodozer Monster Jam truck is something incredibly special. Up next, it's the Great Clips 2-Wheel Skills Challenge. More Monster Jam from Houston.
This portion of Monster Jam is brought to you by America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses. It's not just a better deal, it's America's best.
The view is beautiful from downtown Houston, Texas. This is Monster Jam from NRG Stadium, and the crowd getting a little dance action in. They are pumped and ready for the Great Clips 2-Wheel Skills Challenge. Here's your criteria, but Morgan, I don't think anybody can explain this competition better than you.
Well, as a driver, you want to go out there and make the fans feel like they've seen something spectacular. So here with the two-wheel skills challenge, it's really tough to do things that are different than what everybody else does, because you have your wheelie, you have your stoppie, your popper, your bicycle, and nothing beats a good wheelie, man. Oh. Tough break there. That's really tough as a driver. You got to put it into reverse really quick, but the truck's moving around so fast. Nice try, Paul.
Yeah, Paul Strong, Zombie Fire, looking for that sky wheel. He tried to get the perfect landing on the freestyle pad, just fell backwards. Here is a guy who is a master at wheelies, Kelvin Raymer, and time flies, and there is one, a textbook wheelie, slaps it back down for another one. Kelvin Raymer and time flies doing exactly what this competition should be.
And as a driver, I think a slap wheelie is so cool because it shows how much power these trucks actually have. And these drivers, they're looking up at the rafters. Steering that way is the best way to look up and just look at the rafters as you're going across the floor.
Scott Buto now behind the wheel of El Toro Loco Ice. Tried to get it up, could not quite make that happen. Here's Eric Swanson in Obsessed with a little bicycle there to get it started, trying for a slap wheelie, a popper. Now, and look at the extension from Eric Swanson and Obsessed. A great run in the two-wheel skills challenge for Eric Swanson.
That's nice because it's something that you haven't seen yet. Everybody's coming out doing slap wheelies or sky wheelies. Eric's switching it up a bit. I like it.
Aaron Basil in Wolf's Head doesn't quite get elevation there. Gets a nice sky wheelie, gets back on the two tires, and walks it across the pad, and ends up on all fours. A great trick for Aaron Basil in Wolf's Head. Here's your BKT Great Clips two-wheel skills challenge. Top 5. Your current leader is Aaron Basil in Wolf's Head, a 6.226. Not bad.
Well deserved. You know, Aaron's such a great driver, does the best that he can every time he's out on the track. But Steven is out here to prove something. With this new body, with Earthshaker, he loves doing some wheelies off these cars. I've been on tour with him for a few times, and the kid can drive. It's amazing.
Yeah, that Earthshaker truck is like having your very own Spin Master truck. And look at the control, the throttle control. You can see it in the cab for Steven Thompson in Earthshaker. He was up a long time.
I love that because you look at the in-cab, and look how relaxed Steven is. I mean, that's a veteran driver just hanging out, doing a little bit of style points for the fans.
Yeah, Steven Thompson, Earthshaker, putting on a show for the Houston fans. Now here is Heavy D and Brodozer backing it up on the backflip container. Not sure what he's trying to attempt here, but he's got one tire on the top of that backflip ramp.
I'm not sure if that's what he's looking for. I think he's trying to get those two back tires up on top. Tom Mintz is a big specialist on that, and he does it on our tour all the time. But what a bicycle! Dude, that was awesome. Ooh, little rough hit there, but that was a cool bicycle.
I think he was pretty excited. He gets that two-wheel elevation, the bicycle, and just runs it into the freestyle pad just a little too much. Very excited. A great run for Heavy D Sparks and Brodozer.
And here's someone that is not new to the sport. His dad's been in it a long time, but running the Rod Ryan body is something new for Ryan Disharoon here. He's normally in the Saigon Shaker, but tonight, I know here with Rod Ryan, he's going to really amp it up.
Yeah, the vision a little different here in the Rod Ryan truck for Ryan Disharoon in the Great Clips two-wheel skills challenge. Candace Jolly, Monster Mutt Dalmatian, the head of Dalmatian Nation, tries to get the sky wheelie elevation. A nice wheelie across that pad for Candace Jolly in Monster Mutt Dalmatian.
A little bit of a popper here. Candace has always been so good at wheelies, man. She just hits it every single time, does such a great job when she's in the truck.
And going from Candace Jolly to Neil Elliott and Max D, gets the popper on the nose wheelie and moves it forward. He has got that balance control down pat. What a great first hit for Neil Elliott and Max D.
Scott, this is nothing new for Neil. Neil is amazing at this trick. This nose wheelie, this walking moonwalk, whatever you want to call it, I would call it the Neil Elliott move because he's beat me a number of different times in competition with that move.
Yeah, he's beaten a lot of people with that. He gets the moonwalk back up over the ramp and down. He's trying it again, Morgan. The front hood is now off the truck. Maybe might mess with his visibility a little bit, but gets the moonwalk back over the ramp. And a great run for Neil Elliott in Max D. That right there is your score to beat. And your new leader, Neil Elliott in Max D.
I think Neil's just showing the fans that wasn't a fluke. I can do it exactly the same thing again. But with the nose wheelie that they've got going on here, it's a new move that is just taking the sport by storm.
The Great Clips Mohawk Warrior Bryce Kenny, he sits back. He's just sitting back and taking a break. Going to try to move it back up the ramp. Gets the 2 wheels and down on the freestyle ramp. I know with that Great Clips sponsorship, this competition means the world to Bryce Kenny, and a great job for the Great Clips Mohawk Warrior.
I think what was so cool, Scott, is that you saw the end cap. Bryce wasn't even holding onto the steering wheel, but Adam Anderson, your racing winner, doing a little bit of a trick that he just pulled out from his brother. I know Ryan Anderson on our tour does that all the time, a bicycle to the moonwalk. It's an amazing stunt, but I think Adam's got something else planned for the fans.
He tried to get it up on the nose of the 12,000-pound Monster Jam truck. It looks like he's going for it again. Morgan gets the bicycle and gets up on the one tire. Didn't quite make it on both, and Adam Anderson and Gravedigger not quite what he was trying to attempt. Here are your final standings for the Great Clips 2-Wheel Skills Challenge. Neil Elliott and Max D getting 14 points. It's his 12th Great Clips 2-Wheel Skills Challenge win since the competition's inception in 2017. Right now, let's go down to Leslie with Neil Elliott and Max D, our Great Clips 2-Wheel Skills Challenge winner.
Looked like there was a point where you were maybe a little shaky on the throttle, that you were going to tip over.
I was, I got to get my guys back there. Awesome crew guys are doing a great job on the truck, but my throttle's got just a little bit of a hitch in it from idle to just off idle, and it like bangs on like a light switch, and then I got to correct myself. But anyways, we got it done, and it was kind of jerky when I first got it up there, but once I got it up on the converter and found that sweet spot in the throttle, it was smooth sailing from there.
That win moves Neil Elliott to second all-time for wins in the Great Clip 2-Wheel Skills Challenge, just one behind Tom Mans and Max D. Up next, it's Monster Jam Freestyle. You are watching Monster Jam at NRG Stadium. Scott Jordan, Morgan Kane calling the action at Stadium Championship Series 2. And it's time for freestyle. Here are your event points heading into the final competition. Look at that, Morgan. Neil Elliott, Adam Anderson, Max D, and Gravedigger 1-1, tied with 25 points apiece.
It's definitely a tight competition, anywhere from 5th and on to 1st place. This freestyle really matters, and you have to make sure that you're putting down a good run, filling your time, and that's the #1 thing that the fans see. You have to finish your time using all the obstacles and all these technical moves that everybody's coming out with. They're great, but you still need the big air.
Now here is Steven Thompson in Earthshaker. You got that first jump. That is the chance to really show the crowd what you're going to start with. He gets a little bit of air off the freestyle pad, not a whole lot, but that Earthshaker truck is something great to look at. Steven Thompson out of Hagerstown, Maryland, driving something new this season for the Monster Jam fans.
Scott, Steven's a great competitor. He really pushes the truck to the limit, and sidewalls on this one, and just a bad bounce puts him over. First hit out, you got to make sure that you're doing the best that you can to fill your run.
Yeah, looked good for a while. Try to get the bicycle. Here is a replay of the Earthshaker action. Gets some nice air on the jumps. Gets over the crush cars on 2 wheels. Tried for the bicycle. Gets sideways. Can't save it. And ends up on the back of Earthshaker. Steven Thompson starting off freestyle in a good way. Here is J.R. McNeil, an exterminator. And J.R. has built himself a nice army of Monster Jam trucks. He's got Raisin Cane. He's got Ice Cream Man. And he's got Wolf's Head. So he is a crew guy, an owner, and a driver.
He's a great guy too. Outside of Monster Jam, we have a lot of fun. We talk all the time, but when he's on the track, he wants to make sure that he's competing with the best, and he buys the best parts. He has the best drivers. You want to make sure that he's really making an impact on the sport, and especially putting a great name out there for Emily.
Now, he's been around for a long time, a great guy to talk to and learn the ropes of Monster Jam. J.R. McNeil, that Emily Motor Oil exterminator, cool looking truck, trying to go over the bus, and gets up, crushes it with the back 2 tires. That's something the fans are going to want to see. Coming back around using the full freestyle track. As long as you're moving, the crowd's going to just keep wondering what you're doing, and he gets up over the pad with a nice little jump there.
Well, one thing that we could definitely hint on here is that as a driver, this is a new style track compared to what we're normally used to running. We're normally used to the Chicago style racing and then just the basic, format of freestyle. But I think everybody's still getting used to where the jumps are at, where the cars are placed. You saw in the last run with Steven, those cars, they're placed in a pretty rough spot, so if you're coming out and airing over the bus, it's tough to see where they're at, and sometimes they'll get you, but JR is doing a great job using the full floor, trying to get some wow factor moments in there. he needs to pick it up a bit to make these fans stand out their feet.
And we got the bus fully embedded into this freestyle track tonight in Houston. Now, J.R. McNeil's a guy who's not going to wow you with a whole lot of backflips, not going to do a whole lot of crazy things, but he's so consistent. He gets the acceleration, he gets the jumps, he gets the air, and he knows how to be consistent and still keep that truck in all in one piece. So J.R. McNeil with a little donut trying to get the fans back on their feet.
He's definitely riding around making some noise, and that's always good. You know, early in the run, you want to make sure that you are doing the best that you can to fill the time, because if you don't fill the time, you're never going to get a good score. So JR's making sure he's getting down in the red zone, wants to make sure that he's filling his time.
That time is expiring, so he did just that. Fills all the time on the freestyle clock for J.R. McNeil, an exterminator. You see off there, the little bit of air on the jumps, tried to get a wheelie, a nice slap wheelie off the freestyle ramp for J.R. McNeil, gets up over the bus, back down the ramp using the track. So a great solid run here for J.R. McNeil, an exterminator.
Absolutely, you know, with the 2 runs going out, we're excited to get further into freestyle, but let's check out some highlights. Get Kelvin Raymer, he's always a great competitor, can ride the heck out of a slap wheelie, man. Such a great job, but really just trying to get points on the board to get the fans excited. You know, and when the fans get excited, they start getting on judgeszone.com and they're always voting, because that is something new that we're also going to. The fans are voting for us. You know, as a driver, it's tough because you're trying to do new things and do the best that you can for freestyle. But really, it's up to where you're at and what you're doing to make the fans happy.
And Paul Strong in Zombie Fire from Malacca, Minnesota. Usually drives Storm Damage, but here is Eric Swanson in Obsessed. I've seen him win 2 freestyles. We saw him here last week as well in San Diego. Now in Houston on a different championship series up against different competitors. Some nice air for Eric Swanson in Obsessed. And your BKT Freestyle Top 5. The score still to beat is Steven Thompson in Earthshaker. More freestyle coming up.
This portion of Monster Jam is brought to you by Great Clips. Great Clips. It's gonna be great.
Welcome back to NRG Stadium. It's Monster Jam Stadium Championship Series 2. And right now it's time for America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses Look In with Rod Ryan.
Who's ready for America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses Look In?
So excited to have Rod Ryan here with our first responders in that truck tug pull. You know, we did it last year with the military. So this year, why did you decide to include our first responders?
Because we love our first responders. We do. We really do. We love our first responders. I mean, and I'm sure it's all over, but here in Houston, you know, we've been through a lot. You know, we had a storm a couple of years ago, and I know everybody was here behind me is probably working around the clock during Hurricane Harvey. So let me just tell you, these men and women, this is the smallest thing that we can do to say thank you to them.
Ryan Disharoon is excited to run the Rod Ryan body this weekend in Houston, but it'll be a little different view for him in the cab. This is the first time that he's ever driven a Monster Jam truck with a full body on it. And because his roll cage is just a little bit different than others, he's got limited visibility in the cab.
And Morgan, you've gone from Max D to Gravedigger. Talk about the differences in vision when you go from one truck to another.
Well, it really depends on which truck you're going into. So this Ford F-150 body is not very hard to see out of. I mean, it's got huge wheel wells. You got a big opening for the windshield. Personally, I think it's probably going to be better for Ryan because going from his wheelies to what he's in now, I feel like it's going to open up a little bit. But there's those cars again. Remember what we talked about earlier? They just come out of nowhere. When you're airing it out, you don't know they're there. So hopefully Ryan's seeing that. He's got a good run going right now with a bunch of wow factors, but this might be the best wow factor of all tonight. He better get after it on this one, man.
It's good to see the Rod Ryan Show a part of each Monster Jam event in Houston. Ryan Disharoon, his dad Rick got him into the business. You know, that vision with Saigon Shaker, a little different. We've talked about that. It looks like it's affecting him just a little bit. When you come off, you can't really see that well in front of you, and you see those crush cars when you land on them strong. A nice sky wheelie for Ryan Disharoon. Can he save it? Yes! He almost went backwards, but he still saves it and gets back down on the tire. So Ryan Disharoon, no visibility issues there. Some great air off the ramp, hits the crush cars with a nice wheelie and gets back around a little bicycle at the end. Some more great air off the freestyle ramp. And there's a look inside of what Ryan Disharoon is seeing as he gets that sky wheelie and lands it perfectly in the Rod Ryan Show. Here's Aaron Basil in Wolf's Head. Another truck in the J.R. McNeil Raising Cane Monster Trucks family. Starting off with a little bit of air off that freestyle ramp. How important is it to get a great start and put that wow factor in the front of your run as opposed to the end?
Well, you want to make sure that you're coming out with a bang because the fans are like, okay, who's the next truck? And I was always taught that when you come out, you want to hit the biggest jump out there, go as high as you can to test out the shocks. And Aaron's been in the sport for a long time. I've had the privilege of running on tour with him a couple of different times. Great driver, can really wheel, man. And honestly, he's one of those guys that's you can guarantee he's gonna fill his time. He can do everything he can, hit everything straight, square, give you a good show to set the bar.
And he started as a crew guy, and you look at the guys he's worked with and worked for, it's a list of surefire Hall of Famers. Jimmy Cretin, Pablo Huffaker, Mark Schrader, these are guys he learned from, and now is putting that wisdom, that skill to the test inside the truck of Wolf's Head. So off to a bit of a consistent run, nothing spectacular, but he's using the time, using the track. Can he get that wow moment? And we're gonna find out. Some nice air for Aaron Basil in Wolf's Head. Gets off to a great landing on that jump.
And I like how you touched on it earlier, Scott, about Aaron being a technician. I mean, in the middle of the week, he's wrenching on these trucks, and he's making sure everything's right on his own truck. So I think that's what's so cool about the unique driver that Aaron is. He puts on a great show when he's on the track, but can do everything on the Monster Jam trucks and can fix anything you can ask him to do.
Yeah, and as a driver, you get some time to kind of unwind a little bit after your runs. As a technician and driver, you were right there in the pits working on it. You see him having a little bit of trouble getting over the small side freestyle ramp. 30-second clock is up, so he's running out of time. He's got to get that special moment in. He's had a solid but unspectacular run. A nice sky wheelie there for Aaron Basil in Wolf's Head.
Well, Aaron's always been a safe driver, and like I said earlier, he is going to give you a full run, and he wants to make sure that that's the number one thing in the criteria, is a full run is what the judges are making sure that they're going for. And when you pull out your phone with judgeszone.com, hopefully he gets a little bit higher up in the score because he has filled his time.
And giving a little bit of an extra jump as well there for Aaron Basil, putting an exclamation point on his freestyle run. There's the nice air he had on one of his first jumps. Gets up again with some great air, flying high, gets a slap wheelie on the bottom of that landing, sticks it. Some more great airs. You saw that over and over again in his run. And here comes the 2016 Monster Jam Rookie of the Year, Rosalie Raymer in Wildflower. Off the jump, a slap wheel. It looks like her front steering may have locked up just a little bit, but still rolling out there in that Wildflower truck.
These trucks are extremely hard to wheel around, Scott, and honestly, it's one of those things where you just point and shoot. Whatever's in front of you, you just hit it. And Rosalie has that mentality as the student athlete that she is, and everything that she's been doing. She is guaranteed to give you some big air jumps and give you that wow factor you need for a good score.
Now, she studied mechanical engineering in school, now fully committed to helping her dad, Kelvin Raymer, in Time Flies, get everything going in their business in Watsonville, California. So Rosalie Raymer is now fully committed to compete here. She was coming from school on the weekends to do everything for these Monster Jam fans, and she is off to a great start. She has been a competitor to watch in freestyle. She competed at Monster Jam World Finals last year, had some wow moments there, got the crowd at Sam Boyd Stadium up on their feet, now looking to do the same thing for the crowd here in Houston, Texas.
You know, Rosalie is great with keeping her momentum up, and that's a huge thing to be able to make sure that your scores are high, but she needs to combo a little bit more. Make sure that you're hitting 2 jumps before you turn around, because there at the beginning she was doing a lot of driving around, but she seems like she's picking it up. Like, it's got to be as fast as you can, jump to jump, wide open on the throttle, doing some crazy tricks. That was really cool right there. I think the fans like that. I heard them. But it's one of those deals where got to make sure you're going fast as you can go. Jump to jump, man.
The seconds are ticking away, and here she goes to the Monster Energy backflip ramp. Rosalie Raymer in Wildflower lands it. A great landing for Rosalie Raymer, and it looks like she may have broken that right rear axle, but she is still trying to get that Wildflower truck on the track.
That looks like a locked up planetary, Scott. That's tough break. And it's going to make sure that it's slowing the truck down as much as you can. But she finished her run, finished the time, fantastic backflip, and that's the first of the night. So the fans are going to give you that wow factor. Great score.
And Rosalie Raymer getting out of the truck to address the fans here in Houston. A great run for her, and they're showing her that appreciation. Let's take a look at her highlights. Some nice air, gets a slap wheelie down, even a bicycle off the freestyle ramp, clears the bus and the crush cars and takes that wheelie over even more crush cars on the track. Here's another look at the perfect landing. This portion of Monster Jam is brought to you by Spin Master Toys. Real trucks, real action, Monster Jam. Monster Jam Freestyle is underway. Houston, Texas, NRG Stadium. Scott Jordan and Morgan Kane calling the action for you. Some solid runs. Rosalie Raymer Wildflower delivered that wow moment. She currently sits on top of the freestyle leaderboard. But right now it is Scott Buteau, El Toro Loco Ice, a guy that has a reputation for being one of the best freestyle drivers in all of Monster Jam.
Yeah, Scott's definitely made his name in freestyle. He's not scared of big air. And here in El Toro Loco, it's a new ride for him this season. He's been having a lot of good luck, and he's definitely not scared for the big air. So nice little combo there. I can enjoy that. He's got to pick his speed up. It looks like he might have something going on with the rear steer or something. Just getting comfortable in the truck. First couple hits out in freestyle, you got to make sure that you're comfortable when you're hitting these jumps, because your rear steer's turned the wrong way. I mean, a couple feet, you're going over on your lid.
Final 17, Scott Buteau completed 3 successful backflips in a single freestyle run and then topped that the next year with 4, but he doesn't like to hang his hat on the past. We interview him a lot. We always bring those moments up. He wants something now for the fans to talk about, and he is doing it behind the wheel of El Toro Loco Ice. Some great air for Scott Buteau.
And I think what's so cool about the way that Scott goes about his freestyle is that he does make sure he times himself to line up perfectly to make sure that you are going off the ramp straight. And when you hit the ramp square, it's going to give you that safety that shoots you over out in the middle of the flats, and you can continue on to the next jump. But Scott's got to pick up the momentum in between the jumps. That's where the fans, you create that illusion of when you hear the noise and the fans start getting crazy. But Scott's going for his signature move, the Monster Jam backflip.
Gets up, gets it sideways, gets on the back 2 tires. Can he save it? Yes, down on all 4s and a backflip for Scott Buteau and El Toro Loco Ice.
That was some quick reaction. You know, he's got a little bit of damage on the right front bent 4-link bar, but the reaction that Scott had to throw it in reverse, because that thing was going over backwards, but when he put it in reverse, nice easy throttle, gets him out of a bind, and unfortunately, the damage in the front causes the tech officials to shut you off.
An 8.938 for Scott Buteau and El Toro Loco Ice, getting the crowd up on their feet. But there's the song, the sound, Adam Anderson, the black and green wrecking machine in Gravedigger.
Adam loves coming out the gate and making sure that all the fans know he is here in Gravedigger. A big wow factor, the big transfer. I love that move because it shows truly that you're getting a lot of air. But Adam's loving the combos here. He's going to make sure that his floor speed, I mean, that's who I learned from, is the floor speed. Jump to jump, you got to be wide open on the throttle as fast as you can for that big air.
He's a 5-time World Finals champion, including last year in racing and the year before in freestyle. Morgan, you are a World Finals champion yourself. How do you go into a new year when you have the bullseye on your back as the World Finals champion?
You got to make sure that you're going into every competition knowing that it's your last one, because the fans are coming and they could be from Houston and they say, all right, I'm going to Monster Jam. Well, I'm not going to see another Monster Jam for another year. So Adam's going into it saying, I got to give these fans in Houston a heck of a show.
He's still the youngest driver to win a Monster Jam World Finals championship. Adam Anderson in Gravedigger. His dad, Dennis Anderson, one of the legends in our sport, and Adam Anderson is putting his name on that list. Look at the front hood of Gravedigger. He always talks about tearing the truck apart and leaving the pieces out on the track for the fans in Houston to see, and he's doing just that. Trying to clear the ramp, just comes short, gets up on 2 tires, back around, looking for his next jump, and trying to get these fans back up on their feet, and they are on their feet. A great jump, and here's the 30-second clock for Gravedigger.
Adam has the potential for this to be a winning run because Rosalie set the bar at a 9.575, and Adam's got some big air. I think all he needs is a backflip, man.
Now, he's a guy usually waits till the very end, wants to leave him hanging until that end, and here he comes up to the Monster Energy backflip ramp. Adam Anderson and Gravedigger gets it. What a view on that. You saw the tires come off. He lands it perfectly, and that's what he does on his freestyle runs. He waits till the end, gives him that backflip, and he is not done yet. Look at the air for the black and green wrecking machine into a wheelie. Adam Anderson leaving it all out there for these Houston fans.
What a run, Scott, man. That was awesome, and I love when you can still finish and drive off the track. It's like a sense of pride kind of thing. Adam has definitely put the highlights for Houston here. That backflip was textbook, but the momentum that he has in between jumps, that big air, that's what the fans want to see, because when you're in the front row, you can actually see the bottom side of the cradle on that truck. It's amazing.
Now your new freestyle leader, Adam Anderson and Gravedigger. Right now it's time for Inside Monster Jam with Candace Jolly.
You know, this tour is so crazy because I think we've got some of the best in the business. You've got Neil Elliott, Adam Anderson, Colt Stevens, Scott Buteau. You know, these guys go out there, leave nothing on the table, give it everything they've got every weekend, and to have to run against them has just been really great. You know, running against Neil Elliott, first time ever being on the same tour together, absolutely great. We do have an at-home trophy race, which right now he is winning, unfortunately, but there's a lot of race left, so we're gonna go out there and give it everything we got. You know, I think it's gonna take a lot of luck, a lot of perseverance, you know, just going out there, giving it everything we've got every weekend. My new crew chief, Steve, has built me a truck that's ready to rock. She's been holding together every week, and so I think it's just gonna take a lot of luck, a lot of skill, and hope for the best.
Candace Jolly, one of the premier female athletes in all of Monster Jam. That Monster Mutt Dalmatian truck every year competes at World Finals, has been there since 2009, hosts that fashion show that's very popular for Dalmatian Nation, but she can get off the fashion platform, get inside the truck, and tear it up.
Candace is definitely one of those people that you never really want to line up to race her, because she is a fast and fierce competitor, and for Neil and her to be competing on the same tour, I know that that's been kind of a feat, because I've been on tour with them a couple times. We've done some international shows, and the competition is there because those two are extremely competitive. But Candace, she does such a good job at representing Monster Jam, representing the Monster Mutt Dalmatian Nation, and it's always exciting to watch her freestyle.
Yeah, they are very competitive, her and Neil Elliott, with that at-home trophy. They both talked about that. Neil Elliott has the advantage in Max D right now, but that's going to be somebody I wouldn't want to go home to if you beat her each and every weekend on the track. She is somebody that when she beats you, she will let you know that she beat you, and she'll tell you how she beat you. And there's a look in the cab as she gets the bicycle. You see one hand on the rear steer trying to get that throttle control as well. Around she goes, trying to use all of the track. Gets some nice air on the freestyle pad as well into a little slap wheelie.
One thing that I can focus on right now with Candace's run is that her floor speed is spot on. She does such a great job. It's right when she's turning the corner, she's right to the next jump. I think she could probably hang it out here with a backflip, but this stuff is amazing right now. I mean, this show is spot on. Looks like she's got something going on with the rear steer, maybe a line blue or something. Candace is going to play it safe and just park it.
Yeah, her freestyle run has come to an end, but she had some good jumps in there, get some good air off of that, and another one clearing the freestyle pad into a bicycle. So Candace Jolly, Monster Mutt Dalmatian, an earlier night than she would have hoped, 6.799. We are not done from Houston. More Monster Jam freestyle is on the way next.
This portion of Monster Jam is brought to you by America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses. It's not just a better deal, it's America's best.
A view of the freestyle track at NRG Stadium in Houston, Texas. Everybody gunning for the overall event championship right now. Let's hear from Great Clip's Mohawk Warrior driver, Bryce Kinney.
We had such a great time last October here at NRG Stadium. We came out with the overall event championship, and anytime you leave a city with the trophy, when you come back to the city, there's always a little bit of extra pressure because you want to deliver, and you know the expectations are really, really high from all the fans. And through the pit part, that's what everybody was talking about, was our freestyle run, the save at the very end. That just, no one was more surprised in the stadium than me that we were able to pull that off. And I know their expectations are high. We've got to deliver tonight.
Bryce Kinney, Great Clip's Mohawk Warrior. I know if you ask the drivers of Stadium Championship Series 2, who is the guy that you think can beat you on Eddie night, a lot of them would say Bryce Kinney. And Morgan, he's a guy you've known for a very long time.
Well, I think with Bryce's background, everything is dealt off of, preparation. And Bryce sometimes overthinks things, I think with Houston last year, he did a great job at just not worrying about what's going on, no points, no nothing, and just having a lot of fun with it. And I think that's going to be the key to Bryce's success this season.
Division I soccer star at Campbell University. Morgan, he hosted you as well at Campbell, so a lot of history there between you two. Now he is still very athletic in this Monster Jam truck, very prideful of that Gray Clips Mohawk Warrior truck that he drives, and Gray Clips Mohawk Warrior Nation. The fans are out now at the pit parties, and look at that sideways off the ramp and can't quite get it. Can he save it? Oh, just on the side. It looked like he almost had it. I know that's got to be frustrating for Bryce Kenny, Gray Clips Mohawk Warrior.
That's what I'm talking about with the new style track. Earlier in the show we were talking that some of these jumps are a little bit different, but Bryce was doing all he can with that, and I think if he had jacked the brakes right there, he might have saved it. But that's just a tough angle. You get lost sometimes when you're in the truck, but you got the Brodozer coming out. For all our diesel fans, I think it's so great that this truck has made its debut, and we have a different demographic now. You know, you're focusing so much on either your hardcore horsepower, but now you have your hardcore torque guys here with the diesel torque that they bring, and Heavy D. They do such a great job at promoting this truck.
And Brodozer made its debut June 23rd of last year in Nashville, Tennessee, with Heavy D behind the wheel. Diesel Dave, a very big part of this. He's a technician. He also drives as well. Colt Stevens is on that team. Any given night, one of them can climb into the cab of Brodozer and hand it to you and beat you on the track.
Here's a first-hand view of Heavy D, and you can tell his eyes are all over the track. You want to make sure that you're pinpointing things before you're making that turn. And he's done such a great job as a newer driver to get in and have this much floor speed, this much awareness of where the truck is. I mean, honestly, it's really, really inspiring to see all of these new drivers coming into the sport.
As the conception period of Brodozer came to an end and we were looking to see it in competition, Heavy D wanted to be behind the wheel, so he knew he had to train. Headed to Paxton, Illinois, and trained under the watchful eye of Tom Mentz. And if you want to be a Monster Jam truck driver, there is no better person to train with than the professor, Tom Mentz.
Well, look at here, Scott. We might see something we haven't seen tonight. The 8-pack hit, maybe for a backflip. Not quite getting it all the way around, but still a great try.
That 8-pack, a brand new, exciting addition to the freestyle track. We're looking for somebody to land it. Heavy D gave it a shot. Got some good jumps in there before that attempted backflip. And there is the 8-pack. Doesn't quite get all of it. Let's go down to Leslie Mears for our pit report, brought to you by Super Glue.
Neil Elliott had a leaky shock during racing, but his crew chief, Dustin Davis, decided just to let it go so they could get out here and change it after the two-wheel skills challenge. What they thought it was at first is they thought it was a leaky cap on the bottom of the shock. So they tightened that up, got it back on there, put nitrogen back in the shock, and had a fitting go bad. So they lost all the fluid in it. So now they're putting on a brand new shock to get ready for freestyle.
So if you're Neil Elliott and you win the Gray Clips Two-Wheel Skills Challenge, you probably don't want to go back to the pits and see new shock towers being put on Max D, especially when the event points and the season points are so close.
Well, that's why all of our mechanics, we make sure that we have all the parts in the trailer, so that way if a shock does go bad or an axle breaks, we can get to it and make sure it's fixed for that next event. But if you're Neil Elliott, you got to make sure that the shocks are dialed in perfect, because he's one of the madmen of the sports and he goes huge.
Some good air there for Neil Elliott. You saw inside the cab, his cab set up a little different than the other Max D trucks. He's got the steering wheel on the left-hand side, a little more room, but that's where he likes it. Coming off the acceleration on the freestyle ramp, almost gets the nose up, and some great air clears the freestyle pad, and slowing down a little bit, maybe to the backflip ramp. No, he's just shut down, possibly some mechanical damage. I wonder if that shock tower came back to haunt him.
Neil was on a roll right now. I mean, that was a great run. Huge air, exactly what the fans needed as a build-up, but unfortunately some technical issues, and that's just a tough break for the fans here in Houston.
And that's going to cost him some points. Very, very frustrated for Neil Elliott and Max D. He was tied coming in with 25 to Adam Anderson and Gravedigger. Your freestyle point standings are up. Adam Anderson, Gravedigger, that 9.684, gets 14 points, taking that to the overall event championship tonight. Will it be good enough? We're going to find out right now. Leslie Mears standing by with Adam Anderson in Gravedigger.
A big night tonight for Adam Anderson, Team Gravedigger taking the freestyle victory and the overall championship tonight. It seemed like the tacky dirt really played into your freestyle run and helped you really grab and pick up some of those saves tonight.
You know, it really did. It was awesome for the racing, but going into freestyle, man, we wanted this night. We needed it. The team needed a freestyle win. We needed an overall event win. These guys have been busting their butt. It's an honor for me to drive the truck that they fix up for me to go out there in front of these great Monster Jam fans, and I don't want to do anything less.
Coming into tonight, Adam Anderson and Gravedigger trailed Neil Elliott and Max D by 5 points, and now a 6-point lead for Adam Anderson and Gravedigger sitting in the driver's seat of the season point standings.
And Scott, that just shows you this is a great example of how crucial every single event is during the show. But overall, great night here in Houston.
Adam Anderson capping off an incredible night in Gravedigger with the overall event championship. He took racing. Neil Elliott again takes the Great Clips 2-Wheel Skills Challenge, but I think, Morgan, that the wild card is going to be freestyle this season to determine who goes to Orlando.
Absolutely, Scott. Everything that we do here in Monster Jam, you have to be consistent, and consistency was what Adam had tonight. He got the overall, took it home.
We are all over social media. Please follow us, like our pages at Monster Jam. For Leslie Mears, for Morgan Kane, I am Scott Jordan. We'll see you next time on Monster Jam. Good night.